Welcome to Life Rebounding. I want to continue to look at 1 Peter 1 verses 6 and 7 and reflect on the words that are there and what they might mean for our lives today. This is what it says in verses 6 and 7. "In all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. These have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed." We've been using Margaret Silf's comment from her book Inner Compass, "Where I am, however unchosen by me," as a point of reflection. And as I think about that phrase today in reference to 1 Peter 1, 6 and 7, this is how I want to fill the phrase in today. "Where I am, however unchosen by me," is a burning bush of surprising holy visitation. Now obviously the reference to the burning bush is to Exodus 3 and Moses' encounter with God at the burning bush. And just to remind you a little bit about the background of that, Moses as a young man had discovered his roots, that he was not Egyptian, though he had been raised as an Egyptian prince and had been given all the privileges of being an Egyptian prince. His education was to be groomed as a prince for whatever the role would be within government within Egypt. But as he got to be a young man, he discovered that his roots actually lay in the Israelite world and that he was a Hebrew. And as a result of him beginning to feel his outs of leadership, maybe even believing at that point in his life that he might be the leader God wanted to use to deliver his people, he rose up in a situation where there was an Egyptian beating an Israelite, and he became an intervener or an intercessor. And that actually becomes a very significant role in Moses' life for the rest of his life as an intercessor. First it's between the Israelite and the Egyptian, then it's between Israelites, then it's between Israel and God for the bulk of the rest of his life. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Moses, groomed as an Egyptian prince, has all the education that goes with that role. But when he begins to exercise his leadership, he finds that he's rejected. And as a result of his crime of murdering an Egyptian, he finds himself fleeing for his life. He ends up in the wilderness, ultimately tending the sheep of what would be his father-in-law. And for the next 40 years, he learns animal husbandry and wilderness survival in the wilderness in that stage of his life. So he's earned his undergraduate degree in political science in Egypt. Now he's learning his master's degree in animal husbandry and wilderness survival. And then comes this moment in time when all of a sudden he sees a bush on fire, but it's not being consumed. It's so curious, it draws his attention. He goes over, and it becomes a place of encounter with the living God. And there's a lot more can be said about that particular encounter. But it is a reminder to us that God sneaks up on us sometimes, and he meets us in ways and at times when we don't expect it. And I can testify that there have been many times when I have found myself in situations, or when my family has found itself in situations that we wouldn't choose. But in those moments, God has shown up. And he has shown up in surprising ways and demonstrated just how much he loves us and cares for us. And that's true for you too. If you look around and whatever your circumstances are, God has been looking out for you. He's not surprised by what happened to you. He's not surprised by what's going on in your life or in the world. He saw it coming. And the thing that we discovered was he always had things prepared for us in advance of our turning that corner. When we would get to that place, when we turn that corner, there would be his provision for us waiting for us. Sometimes it would be a card from a friend. Sometimes it would be an encouraging word. Sometimes it would be a visit. Whatever the case may be, God would move through his people, and he would provide for us in those moments the reassurance that he was with us. And so they became moments of holy visitation. They're encounters with God. And I just want to remind you today that whatever you're facing, whatever the circumstances may be, This may be an opportunity for a holy visitation with God, where you can discover some of the surprises He has for you. Yeah, where you are right now might not be where you chose to be, but it can be a place of holy visitation as you meet with God. And so, where I am, however unchosen by me, by faith is a burning bush of surprising holy visitation, and it can be for you. And I pray that today you may encounter the living Christ in such a way that your circumstances take on a whole new light and you find grace and strength for all that you need. May the Lord be with you.